the segment of the show. It's the talking point. We are talking to General Godfrey Lebeya. He is the head of the Hawks, now the police's elite crime-fighting unit, which has come under increasing pressure lately to make high-profile arrests, especially in the light of the SIU investigations. Well, two of the issues South Africans were hoping the Hawks would tackle include individuals named in the Digital Vibes scandal and the misuse of COVID-19 funds. Well, the General is with us now, and he joins us for this conversation. General, thank you very much for making the time to come here today. Really is a pleasure to see you in person.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you and to your viewers.
Very good afternoon to you too, sir. Let me start with the topical issue of Digital Vibes. How many people are you investigating related to the Digital Vibes scandal, and how far advanced are these investigations?
Firstly, I would like to indicate that we will not be counting the number. As some of them, from time to time, they will be mentioned in the media. But for us, we will count when we effect arrest or when we secure their attendance in court. All what we can say at this stage is that we have initiated our investigation. Our investigation started actually in May. At this stage, we already have got more than 50 statements that we have filed in the case docket. So what we'll be doing is to study the report of the SIU that has finally been released so that we align it with the investigation already in the case docket.
Yes.
We have been working closely with the SIU, which is what we always do.
Yes.
Yes, it is just that the nature of the evidence that we get for the purpose of criminal court is slightly different with the nature of the evidence that you get for civil case. But otherwise, we're working together.
Okay, all right. I am going to push you a little bit, though, for some information. And I want to start with the seizure of property of the people who are implicated in this matter. Do you plan to attach any properties anytime soon?
I think part of what the SIU shall have done was to attach some of the assets. For us, in our investigation, we have got prosecutors that have been assigned to the case. And a part of the team include the asset forfeiture unit, which is part of the National Prosecuting Authority. So the attachment of assets is the responsibility of our colleagues within the NPA. Ours is to investigate and say these are the assets that have been identified. While once the necessary documents have been obtained, we join them in executing those. That will be time that we will become involved in the attachment.
Yes. Okay. You did say that the names you're not going to be concerned about, really. But, as I said, I'm also going to be pushing you for some information. And one of those names, General Lebeya, is Dr. Anban Pillay. He has been mentioned very publicly so by the SIU, and the weight of the evidence against him, it's quite clear why the SIU has seen it fit to mention him. Are you going to be arresting him anytime soon?
As I've indicated, the evidence that the SIU obtains and what they submit in the tribunal is something that you prove on probability. If it is probable, it is sufficient. For us, it must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. That's why we are going to investigate every element that is mentioned, and then whoever evidence is gathered to suggest that he or she has committed the crime, we will secure the attendance of that in court. At this stage, we can't say who the evidence will suffice that we have to take this one to go and answer in the court of law. So at this stage, I wouldn't like to say who, but we will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that anyone who played a role, and then anyone who the element suggests that he need to go and answer or she need to go and answer, we will secure that one in court.
You'll understand the lack of, I'm not going to say trust, General Lebeya, but perhaps despondency might be the right word to use on the part of ordinary South Africans like myself. Because most of these cases happen and we are told that things are moving, and it becomes years before anyone is arrested. So, once again, I'm asking you the question about Dr. Anban Pillay. The evidence against him clearly is weighty enough for the SIU to mention him publicly. Do you plan to arrest him? Or what evidence before you suggests that actually he should be apprehended and go to court very soon?
Yeah, so with us, as I've indicated, the SIU work on probability. The standard is not the same. The standard in civil court and the standard in criminal court are not the same. So once we mention a particular person in the public space, we must be able to warn that person in terms of the Constitution. Section 35 of the Constitution.
So you haven't even warned him yet?
We can't until such time that we are ready to be able to present that which we suggest he or she has done. We will not be confronting that person.
Yes.
So we shall only confront that person when we have got sufficient. And we must warn that person in terms of the Constitution that you have got the right to remain silent and the like. And then you may give us answers.
Okay.
So at this stage, what we are gathering is what I say. Already we have got more than 50 statements that we have acquired. But for each element that we have got to take to court must be proven beyond reasonable doubt.
All right. The SIU has said that it reserves the right to amend the findings and recommendations. And I'm mentioning this deliberately because people out there expect that there be movement on the part of the former minister, Dr. Mkhize. Are you aware of the SIU possibly amending its findings or recommendations and referring the name of the former minister to yourselves?
I think what I can say is that our affidavit tells us, and if the SIU amends its report, which is civil in nature, we will look at that and see what is that which they have detected additionally. Probably you may find that whatever they will be including, we already have in the affidavits that we are compiling. Remember, for us, we compile detailed affidavits. And I can say that we already have got 3 draft affidavits that are details. That is the nature of the work. We make sure that we leave no elements outside the affidavit. This affidavit must be able to show precisely what have happened.
Okay, so just so I'm in the clear, and my viewers as well, the name of Dr. Mkhize, has it been referred to yourselves or the NPA? Because my understanding is that your investigators are working very closely with the people in the NPA. That name, it has not come to your attention.
Yeah, what I wouldn't do, which is the stand that I always maintain, is to mention the name of people that are suspected to be involved. I only mention the name of people once they have been charged and they appear in court. You'll always see, even our media statements when we release, we may say that we have arrested a senior official or we have arrested a person. That person will be appearing at this court on this date. And then once that person appear in court, then we can start mentioning the name. I think that I will not mention the name of anybody until such person has been charged. So we have received the report from the SIU. What the content, the names of individuals that are mentioned, it is not for us to mention those. If the SIU would like to mention the names of individuals based on civil case, they are welcome to do that. Yeah. But for us, in terms of criminal case, there is a constitution that guides us. What do you do when a person is being suspected of committing an offense? So we will follow that.
If we look broadly now to the rest of what I would say is COVID-19 corruption, at the last count, and you'll correct me here, at the last count, there were 151 cases of corruption that were being investigated by yourselves, but this also includes the effort of the Fusion Center. This is where all law enforcement now congregate under one roof. And all of this, it stems from that 15 billion rand COVID-19 spending. From your knowledge, is that still, has that number remained at 151, or has the caseload increased?
The caseload shall have slightly increased, but because currently you don't have new cases that the people are perpetrating, the number is growing very, very slowly. What we are doing is to secure the attendance of those that have committed this in court. So it is that area where there will be some changes. Regarding the arrest, so the arrests themselves will increase, but the number of reported cases will be slightly increasing, but not in that big number. I'm just trying to get the area where I'm talking about those specific figures.
Yes. All right. So while you look for that, I'm also probably going to ask you about the number of cases that are before courts right now, or might that also be the information that you're trying to look up right
now? So far, with regard to the accused persons, we have got 55 accused persons that have been secured in court on the COVID PPEs, the matters that we are handling at the Fusion Center.
Let me do this, General. In order to allow you to get the correct figures, let's take a short break. When we return, we are going to continue the conversation with General Godfrey Lebeya. The segment of the show, the talking point, and we in conversation with General Godfrey Lebeya. He is head of the Hawks. And General, we were trying to allow you time to see if you can locate the numbers, at least of the people that you are pursuing around COVID-19 corruption. At this stage, you're saying that you're comfortable with the figure of 55 people who are, what exactly, before courts, or those cases are prosecution ready?
55 accused persons have been placed in court. 15 of this have already been convicted.
15?
15 has already been convicted. One person has been acquitted. So it all has showed that more than 90% conviction rate has been secured. Only 6% acquittal.
Okay, all right. So that then leads us to a conversation about Hawks investigators being placed in the asset forfeiture unit. And this is in trying to basically help them work a little bit faster, but also with an even deeper understanding of the cases that they are pursuing. This, at one stage, was punted as a game changer. But as the figures that you're revealing to us, some people are going to say, but you see, this prosecuting story or prosecution story is very, very slow. Is this process bearing fruit of trying to team up people in the Hawks along with those who sit in the NPA?
The figures that I was talking to are those that we are dealing with them in the fusion center. I think that if we appreciate that the PPE stories, the COVID-19 cases, only started after March last year, I think that the speed at which these cases have been processed is better than the ordinary cases, because under normal circumstances, the cases usually take longer. The prioritization of this ensured that we can finalize at least 16 matters out of the 55 that are already there at court. So it works better because there is a dedicated capacity that is looking at this. So with regard to the asset forfeiture unit, it is matters that will result elsewhere. But also in these ones, there will be asset forfeiture unit, there will be SARS, there will be FIC. So the Fusion Center is a variety of departments that participate in that space.
Talking about capacity issues, General, long before COVID-19 even started, you told Parliament that the forensic skill or forensic investigation skill was lacking badly within the Hawks, and at that time you were responding to questions around Steinhoff. Has that situation improved around capacity in forensic investigations?
Since the time that I have reported, there is an improvement. I can also indicate that today I'm accompanied by the spokesperson for the Hawks, which is situated here in the room. She will be starting in the office tomorrow. She is replacing Brigadier Molauzi that have resigned last year.
So this is an announcement, I take it, that you are making?
It is an announcement that she is accompanying me here, and then I think if the chances allows, we can be able to show her face. And then with regard to forensic space, tomorrow again, there will be an officer that I will start in the office, a chartered accountant by qualification, so come and head that particular environment. We appointed that one at the level of Major General. And then there are already brigadiers that are been appointed in that space, and we are continuing to capacitate that environment. And then it's not only these chartered accountants that get involved, but also other people that will be assisting them, and we have employed a number of them. By September, we employed 130, and then the beginning of October, we employed a few, and then by the 1st of November, we will be employing 50. So we have already made the recommendation. It's just the final check to ensure that those that we enlist do not have question marks.
So in total, you have in your employ, including those that you are going to be announcing soon, some 50 forensic investigators. Am I hearing you correctly?
No, it is various, not only forensic investigators. Remember, forensic investigators are those that are involved in a serious commercial crime investigation. And then there are those who will be doing auditing for the purpose of producing a statement that are expert in nature other than an ordinary investigator. So this is a combination of them. I haven't made a breakdown. Some of them you have got cyber experts that we have employed. So it's a variety, it's a combination of different skills to capacitate the DPCI in general.
And talking about these complicated cases, General, the 5th of December is going to mark exactly 4 years of Marcus Joster's freedom, if you like, and yet he remains a free man, yet he was named by the forensic investigators of PricewaterhouseCoopers as being the mastermind of South Africa's largest fraud. When are you going to arrest him?
Yeah, the matter of Steinhoff, obviously we have already obtained more than 90% of what needed to be gathered in that matter. But the final decision as to whether we are ready to take anybody rests with the prosecutors that are part of this team. So they continuously guide the investigators.
Let me ask you this simple question, General. Is Marcus Joster, who's the former CEO of Steinhoff, is he even a person of interest for the Hawks?
Yeah, you see that my standpoint on naming people is something that I would like to name them once they have been charged. That's why I prefer to talk about Steinhoff. The names that are being mentioned by those who are free to mention them, they may do so, but I prefer to say that individuals that have been mentioned in the investigation of Steinhoff, when the prosecutors are ready, we will be able to secure their attendance. I think it's not only one name that is being mentioned there, but I don't want to confirm which name is being mentioned.
Fair point. So, but how soon can South Africans expect some action around the Steinhoff matter?
Yeah, we will be assessing the investigators and the prosecutors, or are we ready? From my point of view, I think that I have indicated at some stage that certain legs seems to be ready. But whether you want to do it in piecemeal or you want to complete the whole is something that the team have to be agreeing. So it is that particular assessment that needs to be done.
General, let's pause there for a moment because I'd like also to touch on the July unrest, the so-called instigators, you'll recall. When are those people going to be arrested? I'm talking about instigators. Yes, we have heard ministers announcing that an instigator has been arrested, but are those truly and really instigators of what happened in July in the country? It was a very sad state of affairs. Let's take a break. We continue with General Lebeya in a moment. You're watching Politics Unscripted. We are in conversation with the head of the Hawks, General Godfrey Lebeya. And General, let's talk now about the July unrest. In a short space of 2 weeks, 3 over 300 people lost their lives in this country. 50 billion rand worth of damage to businesses was suffered. Not mentioning the 150,000 jobs that were placed at risk. How many instigators of this violence would you say have been arrested and are facing the courts for their crimes?
18 instigators have been arrested and are at court. Of these, 11 of the cases are handled by the detectives and forensic services of the greater service. 7 of these are investigated by the Hawks. So we are also continuously investigating others. And I think that one of them, when immediately after the arrest, there was a followership of 59,000. Immediately after arrest, when we released the name, there was an increase, double the amount of followers. But one of them that we did not even mention, I have seen the comments in the media people asking, where is the Nkinga? We no longer see on the media, yes, we did not pronounce on the arrest. I know that there was 32,000 people that were following that. Immediately after arrest, that stopped. The challenge has been that people have not been using their genuine names, like Nkinga, who's Nkinga. At some stage, you will change and say it's General Gaddafi. And we needed to be knowing who is this person.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, also take time.
Yeah. General, I know you said you're not in the business of giving people's names, but how many of these people that you have arrested are government workers, for example?
At this stage, I will not be able to say. I haven't prepared to check where is each of these arrested individuals working. But we can say that there are those that are in the legal environment and others are self-employed. Yes, I haven't analyzed.
You're not able to tell either whether some of them are politicians or even children of politicians?
Obviously, I think that I can say that one of them appears to be a politician because of the fact that he's a regional chairperson of a particular political party. But for us, we don't always focus on the issue of politics.
Yes.
We rather prefer the action, the conduct that an individual has committed. So I can say that one of them is involved in politics as a chairperson of a region.
All right. The reason I'm asking you these questions, General, the public has been very critical to say, you see, our prosecuting authorities, we're told time and again that they operate with independence, without any influence. And yet, the people that are, or at least that have been seen by news cameras before the courts, some have said, but you're telling us that that is an instigator. Please, you're playing games with us. So the fact that you don't really have big names, General, and I know you said you're not in the business of naming names, but people are making conclusions out there that our country's prosecuting authorities are not pursuing their work with independence, which is why you're not seeing real instigators behind bars. How do you respond to that critique?
For us, our challenge, anyone who is holding that view, that bring forward the information that so-and-so was involved in that instigation. Because probably people have not been doing it openly. So they hide their faces. And you read it in the social media, you try to identify who's that person. So there is already work that is currently taking place where we are trying to link those that shall have been involved in this. But we can't say at this stage whether they are politicians or not.
Can you say without doubt in your mind that you do your work without any political influence whatsoever?
Yeah, since I have taken office, nobody has ever interfered with my work. And I expect that nobody will do. Because I read the law, what the law is saying. I have taken an oath before a judge that I'll do my work without fear, favor, or prejudice. And I ensured that every member in the Hawks takes that oath. Before you start working, you take that oath. And there is a judge available that if there is interference, go straight to that judge. You don't pay a cent. It's unlike when you are going to stand a queue at a high court looking for the court to listen to your story. So for us, there is no interference. We are doing our work freely.
General Godfrey Lebeya, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It is that time where you said you're going to make that all-important revelation. My understanding is that your new spokesperson, we've been able to position her in front of the cameras. In fact, we're probably going to show her now. What is the new spokesperson of the Hawks, and what are her qualifications that put her in this position?
The new spokesperson for the Hawks is a Brigadier Thandimbambo.
There you see her on your screen right now. She's doing some scribbling. Yes, so that's Brigadier Thandimbambo.
Yes, she is the one that is taking over. She will be the face of the DPCI, and I think if given an opportunity, she can indicate the background. She has been communicating in the police in the Free State province, and then I think that people will be familiar with her from now on.
All right. Brigadier Thandimbambo, unfortunately, we don't have time for her to basically list her CV to us, but thank you very much, General Godfrey Lebeya, for joining us, and indeed the revelation of the new spokesperson for the Hawks. That has been the head of the Hawks talking to us here on Politics Unscripted. Hopefully you got some answers. I'm not satisfied personally that I didn't get specific names, but the General is clear that that's not how they do their business.